next speaker is a San Francisco State alumni. He is a humanitarian and environmental advocate. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald McClay.
Excuse me a second. I wrote this for you, and it means a lot to me to be here. This is where I come from. This is the school I graduated from. It meant a lot to me. I'd like to thank the people that invited me here, and I'd also like to thank everybody that didn't have a choice in the matter. It's not going to listen. All right. I think normal is to turn around and face that way, but I got this, and I don't usually do this. I usually just kind of wing it, but I wanted to remember to say everything, and I might use it for the sun or something like that. And I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Looks like the best seats are under those trees. Isn't it, right? We need a tree here. Okay, I came to the San Francisco State Liberal Studies Department. I wanted to do here in the United States what I'd done in another country and work here as a teacher. I thought I was going to work as a shop teacher. I just spent 5 years in Nicaragua working as a teacher and on-the-job trainer, and I've been bringing education and employability to some of Nicaragua's poorest people. In Nicaragua, I worked with a very effective public education system. It had 3 major parts to its methodology. This is adult education. Part 1 was the School of Hard Knocks. You had to work. I taught in a shop, and the students worked in that shop with me. We took orders from clients. Part 2 was the standard teaching that you have. How do you run a mill? How do you run a lathe? How do you do the geometry for it? And then part 3 was something Nicaragua did very special, was they went and tested the academic level of every student, and then they gave them targeted teaching classes of the normal things. Geography, language, history, which for them was history of the anti-imperialist struggle against American interference in their national sovereignty, and various other things. That methodology was extremely effective. I saw people go from being a farmer with the equivalent of a second-grade education to being a line electrician in less than a year. At one point, I actually had students stolen away from me. They turned up one morning very embarrassed to tell us that the co-op had been kind of watching them learn how to do different things. So they got elected president and treasurer of the co-op. So we lost them as students. It's kind of hard to not consider that a success. That kind of takes back to my own personal training. I came up in Montreal, Canada, where we were trained as machinists. And early on in the machine shop, one of the students raised his hand and he said, "What is all this for?" We've all been there. You sit there and you look at all this trigonometry on the blackboard and say, "What is this for?" And my teacher, a guy named Jean Grenier, by the way, he didn't say, "What is this for?" He said, "À quoi ça sert, ce merde-là?" Which means, what is that shit for? Jean Grenier just sat there and started to explain to us how trigonometry, plain trigonometry, helps us make parts in a lathe. He taught us that if we were going to make steel parts. And I had died and gone to heaven. It was this lack of anything effective or practical that had basically caused me to drop out of high school in the first place. Right? So it's no surprise that my counselor down at Laney, he decided that the right place for me when I transferred to a 4-year school was the Liberal Studies Department in San Francisco State. He was looking for somewhere where there was strong science and strong humanities course, and somewhere maybe to get rid of somebody like me. I had a lot of fun at Laney and here, partly because I refused to take any class in anything that I was already good at. So I didn't take Spanish. I had my fill, thank you. So I took Mandarin Chinese. Now, the first thing I had to learn, of course, was English. I really hadn't used it much since I was about 14, and I moved to Montreal, and there I was about 32, and going to Laney, so my English kind of got a little less rusty at Laney. And then I got to San Francisco State, and I had to learn some new types of English that I'm sure you guys have been inflicted with. So, we had a thing that was the history of architecture of temple building, Egyptian to Roman Empire, and crawling through Roman Catholic. That was called Thought and Image 1. Comparative self-portraiture and self-identification informed by Campbell's hero archetype was called Thought and Image 2. Introduction to geology and plate tectonics was called Our Violent Earth. Human-caused stress on ecosystems was called Our Endangered Planet. And frankly, I was expecting Mandarin 3 to be called Our Asian Friends. I learned a lot here. I took a lot of classes and things I had never imagined, and it really would have helped me to work in a modern U.S. classroom. I also got to make real good use of that Spanish and French because those books were available in the library where the others were checked out. So it made me look good because I was like handing in, you know, foreign language source material. And it also allowed me to cheat a little bit because I was actually better at that time in French and English, and French and Spanish than I was in English. So it was kind of a twofer there. I was pretty lazy about it. Does Roger Burt still teach here? Is he still around? Yeah, loved Roger. He was a great guy. He gave me a book that had untranslated quotes in Latin. And I wasn't really into that. I talked to him about how maybe we shouldn't have untranslated quotes in Latin. And he said that, well, you know, Latin informs you a lot because there's a lot of Latin in English. At which point I started saying, yeah, well, that comes from the Norman French. But, you know, you could get as much learning Spanish, which, you know, you can kind of speak around here, turn on channel 14. And the students were really happy when him and I shut up and went to talk